Hi, Kevin Coop here, and this is FaceTime with the Content Guy for the week of August 19th, 2013. Well, this is the last FaceTime before Labor Day, so I thought I'd catch up on some stories that have been sort of knocking around my desk here for a couple of weeks, haven't quite found their way onto Morning Newsbeat. And go figure, there are movie references. Remember that line from the movie Forrest Gump? Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Well, apparently that goes double in the UK. There was a story in the Daily Mail the other day about how some teenagers were in a Tesco, and they were picking up, I guess it was a Cadbury Caramel Nibble, which is a kind of chocolate bar, and it was loaded with maggots. Apparently, according to the kids, it was really, really disgusting. It smelled of fungus. I'm just impressed that they said that, because I don't think I know what fungus smells like. That doesn't really ring a bell for me. And apparently it was gross. That was crawling on their hands and on their clothes, and they ran out of the store, and a lot of other customers ran out of the store, and it was pretty awful. Now, this happened like a week ago, and one of the reasons I didn't report it on Morning Newsbeat right away, and trust me, this is the kind of story that I ordinarily would jump all over. The reason I didn't report it right away is I kept waiting for the second day or third day story that said, that these teenagers, they brought the maggots in, and this was really all their fault. It was some kind of a goof. Not a very funny goof, but a goof. Well, apparently that hasn't happened. It's been a week, and apparently the only thing that's happened in terms of follow-up stories is Tesco apologizing for the problem. Yeah, I'll bet they are. And the thing is, what this makes me think about is the fact that, when I was a newspaper reporter starting out, I can remember that a politician that I covered used to tell me that he didn't worry about bad stories. He said, today's paper wraps tomorrow's fish. I can remember him saying that to me. Today's paper wraps tomorrow's fish. You don't bother me, Coop. Anyway, but the thing is that's not true anymore. He couldn't say that, What's in today's paper or in today's news, well, first of all, it's around forever. And it instantly goes all over the globe. And this is one of the reasons that companies have to really be at the top of their game when it comes to all sorts of things that they do. They have to be aware that if they get it wrong, it is going to be everywhere fast. And they have to pay attention to that. The second story that's on my mind was a piece that was in the New York Times the other day. And this was all about how independent bookstores, which clearly are getting killed by, if not by Barnes & Noble, certainly by Amazon.com, well, they've sort of found a new way to try to be competitive, or at least kind of bolster their financial bottom lines. And it's crowdfunding. And here's what the Times had to say about it. In San Francisco, a campaign for Adobe Books successfully raised $60,000 on Indiegogo.com in March, after the store faced a rent increase and nearly went out of business. Now, in Asheville, North Carolina, the Spellbound Children's Bookshop collected more than $5,000 when it appealed to customers to help moving to a new location. And in the Flatiron District of Manhattan in New York City, Books of Wonder raised more than $50,000 in an online campaign last fall after the recession and other losses depleted its financial resources. Now listen, I'm not sure that this is a long-term sustainable business model. But that said, it is sort of interesting that these independent bookstores, while they may not have enough financial support, seem to have enough loyalty among their customers that they can fundraise like this. And isn't that the kind of loyalty that, every store would like to have? That if things got tough, people would just throw money into the pot to keep you around rather than lose you. It gives me an idea, though, that maybe there's a sequel here to You've Got Mail. Remember the movie with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan about the independent bookstore put out of business by Fox Books? That movie only came out 15 years ago. And yet now, when you look at least the business story part of it, it seems hopelessly out of date. It has been a crazy 15 years, and the pace of change only accelerates. Finally, there's a story also from the Times which sort of explains why the U.S. Postal Service may have so much trouble making money. It seems that one of the things that the U.S. Postal Service has been doing since 2001, specifically since September 2001, has been taking a photograph of every piece of mail that is sent within the United States. Every piece of mail, every letter, every package since 2001. And last year alone, that was 160 billion photographs. That's billion with a B. And these photos are then provided to law enforcement, okay, in case they are needed during criminal prosecutions. I mean, talk about big data. Hell, talk about Big Brother. That's extraordinary. Which, by the way, leads me to another movie reference. Francis Ford Coppola's 1974 film, The Conversation. Now, listen, if you have not seen The Conversation, you definitely have to rent it. It is an amazing movie, and it's all about wiretapping. It's all about surveillance. And extraordinarily enough, it is the movie that Francis Ford Coppola made in between The Godfather and The Godfather Part 2. I mean, man, talk about a roll. I mean, that's extraordinary that he made those three movies in a row. And listen, even if you have seen it, you should go back and see it again, because The Conversation is an amazing movie. I mean, especially with all the conversation taking place today about personal privacy, about government oversight, about corporate overreach. The Conversation is almost as timely today as it was almost 40 years ago when it was made. Anyway, that's what's on my mind this Thursday morning, and as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.